Hi, Stitchers. Welcome to Tatreez Talk, where we share conversations about Palestinian embroidery. I'm Amanne here with my co-host Lina, chatting with talented embroiderers and artists, sharing their stories, inspirations, and the cultural significance behind their work.
It's season 3. It's 2025. What is time?
Hey, we made it.
Oh my goodness. 43 episodes later, which is incredible, and we're still going strong. I love it.
Yeah,
Um,
I can't believe it's been a year, by the way.
isn't that
Like
that's insane?
I think it didn't even hit me until before we started recording, we were talking about this, and I was like, oh yeah, we've been doing this for a year. That's like
Yep.
kind of insane. It's kind of crazy. But
Yeah,
here we are a
yeah.
year later.
Yeah. And I remember like when we first started, it was literally because both of us are just geeking out over Tatreez and we just want to talk to cool people who are doing cool things with Tatreez. And yeah, now a year later, we've spoken with 37 guests, actually. We did the math. We've spoken with 37 different people who have such unique perspectives on Tatreez, which I think is wild.
Yes, 37 like talented Palestinian artists from literally all over the globe, all over the diaspora, some in Palestine. So it's been a very cool experience. And I always joke around that like selfishly, I wanted to start this podcast so that I would have an excuse to connect with other dope Palestinian artists. And I think I have been able to do that. So thanks to this podcast. I'm not always good at like sliding into people's DMs and like having conversations. I'm just like really bad with like that stuff, like texting, all that stuff. I'm not great at it. So being able to like have a scheduled time to sit and chat with people is has been very helpful just to like connect with other people and honestly be inspired by other people because I think
Yeah.
everyone we talk to they give us a different perspective on the threes and like their journeys, their connections, and all of the things. So that's been like I think a really cool part of everything.
Yeah. I remember theoretically, well, not theoretically, when you first asked me to do this podcast with you way back when, um, in theory, I was like, oh, this sounds amazing. I'm so down. I've always like thought the idea was amazing. But in practice, it actually opens up so many conversations that I cannot believe we're not having already. And I think that's really powerful of like a tool or, you know, the way that we are sharing information through by like through podcasting. And I don't think that would have been possible via Instagram, for example, or TikTok or whatever. Like you really can't have these more meaningful conversations and open up discussions that maybe are taboo or haven't been talked about or don't have enough like haven't been researched on yet. And I think this podcast has been such an incredible way to at least begin some of that thoughtfulness around Tatreez that we haven't been doing yet.
Yeah, no, I that actually really hits me because I we talk about this all the time. We were also talking about this before we started recording, but I always joke around like I am so bad at social media. Like, which is funny because my day job is like I'm in brand marketing, like I build social media strategies and like content strategies for like huge like multi-million dollar companies. Um but like the actual practice of creating content for myself is not something I don't want to say it's not something I'm good at. It's just not something I like truly enjoy. So as a result, I'm not good at it. But as you're just saying, like one of the things I always struggle with is having these deeper conversations on social media. Like if I'm
Hmm.
posting content and like wanting to like reflect on something, which I try to do from time to time, but it's not for me personally, it's not necessarily something that comes as naturally. Like I think I'm a talker, and so being able to just like have the conversations and like talk to somebody. Also, like when you're talking and you're having conversations, because again, it's obviously two ways, in our case, three ways. You're able to like go deeper, you're able to have like these side quests, if you will, and things come up very naturally and organically when you're having these conversations, which I think is more meaningful for me personally, and hopefully for you, listener. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be listening. So hopefully
Well,
that
and
might be
also, yeah, and also like not everyone thrives on Instagram, right? Like all these
yeah.
people that we're interviewing, I would not you I what none of us could have understood all the value that they have to offer if we didn't have this forum of a podcast, you
Hmm.
know? So it's just I think there's something to be said about just the long form and something that's very direct and you're having this conversation with someone. It's not just like even emails like back and forth. Like it
Hmm.
removes like the tone and seeing them on camera and seeing their work. It's also like Tatreez, like it's so tangible. There's something
So
so
visual.
different, yeah,
Yeah.
about engaging with it, with your hands versus seeing a photo on Instagram.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Okay, I know like we talked a little bit about kind of like reflecting on 2024, like specifically when it comes to the podcast. So we're obviously kind of having this conversation now, but like what would you say, like looking back at the last year of this podcast, like from start to finish, like I guess what would be your biggest takeaways? Like do you think about when you like look back at the last year?
Hmm. I mean, for me, I feel like my biggest takeaway is that we are just scratching the surface. Paltries
Mm.
seems so simple and beautiful. And it's, if you boil it down to the cross stitch technique specifically, like it seems like there's not much really there. But the podcast has, I mean, I kind of knew there was more, but the podcast just confirmed like there's a whole iceberg underneath what we're
Hmm.
seeing and what we've learned and what we've done. And I think for me, it's really exciting to think about what's possible with Tatreez moving forward now that we've established a little bit of an open opportunity or conversation starter. So that's for me. What about you?
Hmm. I mean, for me, I think like, I had this idea for doing this podcast for a while. It was not something I wanted to do by myself. Like, I just didn't think it would be fun to do by myself, to be honest. Like, I'm somebody who there are certain things that I need to do solo and I thrive in that
Hmm.
area. But there are other things that I know I thrive in much more effectively in a collaborative environment. And this, I feel like, was something that I was like, I know I need to do this with somebody. So, it was an idea that was sitting in my head for a while. And I know you don't remember this, but when I first asked you, like, life was too crazy at the time, and you're like, girl, absolutely not. I can't do this right now.
Mm.
And so I had like one last ditch effort. I forget if it was like before we did the first Tatreez retreat, or if it was after. I forget the timing exactly. But like I had this one last ditch effort. I was like, let me ask her again. If she doesn't want to do it, then fine, I'll do it myself. And luckily, like at that time, like, things worked out for like the way your life was, and your schedule. So it was like, okay, this makes sense. And I'm so glad because I feel like I knew it was something I wanted to do and I knew I wanted to have these conversations with people, but I also didn't really know, like, is this going to be something that like we do for a little bit and then it
Mm.
like
Fizzles.
dies?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, is this gonna like be something that like has legs? And then I think honestly, I feel like after we did our very first interview, I was like, oh no, this is like this definitely is like fun. Like this is fun
Hmm.
for me.
Yeah.
And so I was like, this is not something I'm gonna let fizzle. And like the last year, it's like funny because like there's been times in my life and my schedule where things have gone crazy and like, I was traveling or whatever, or doing this, doing that, and like I wouldn't be in contact with you. And there was like a time period where I was like, I would like literally start my mornings with like voice notes to you.
Yeah.
I'm probably
Yeah.
talking to you for your husband. But like, it was cool because like obviously like we are doing the podcast together. We're also doing like the threes retreats together. But like one, it definitely like created like a deeper sisterhood between us, which is like something I'm very grateful for and I cherish. So I'm glad that became a thing. And then there's like the greater like the threes community. Like, I said earlier how I wanted to do this and like connect with other Tatreez artists, which has been amazing. And I've been able to do that through the podcast and through interviews. And then there's also like people that I've been able to connect with, like who are just a part of the community, Palestinian and non-Palestinians alike, who have like met me through the podcast or, found me through Instagram and like listen to the podcast or whatever. So it's kind of cool. Like, I met somebody in the wild like not that long ago who listened to the podcast and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, this is like so random, but also so
Yeah.
cool. And we probably, if it wasn't for Tatreez and the podcast, like we might have just passed each other on the street and never had
Yeah.
known that like we're both like Palestinian women who like love Tatreez and love this traditional art. So that has been very cool and very like inspiring. Like I've been very inspired by everyone I chat with. And like that's something I'm grateful for. And I am I'm really excited about like what the next
Mm.
chapter looks like. I think for all of us, like for the community as a whole. Because I think like you said, like this is definitely just like a scratch of the surface. And I'm hoping that, more and more Tatri's artists feel comfortable in their art and feel comfortable in their artistry. And they kind of not I don't want to say join the community because I feel like a lot of people are already practicing this art maybe in like smaller communities, local communities, but like feel comfortable to become a part of this like larger global community, if you will, that we're all trying to like build up. And so yeah, I hope that we have like an endless supply of guests to chat with, and more people just become comfortable like speaking to their art.
Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I'm like reminded now, like thinking back to like that first week when we made it public on Instagram that we're creating this podcast. And I remember like feeling, oh my God, this is so exciting and like, wow, we're doing something. But are we doing this like okay in an okay way? Are we putting ourselves out there? And it's been so much fun to like bounce ideas off of you and kind of just be a loser. A geek.
Yeah, we tell everyone that comes on the podcast when people are like nervous, we're like, we are two very nerdy Tetris girlies. Like, we're nerds. Like, it's okay.
Totally. I like you were the first person to give me that space too. It's like, it's okay. This is a safe space. Be nerdy as much as you want. And I remember like the feelings that I had that week and it was so exciting and so much fun. And you're 100% right. It would not be the same if one of us was like doing this by themselves or
Yeah.
it's just there's so much about and I think that like says so much about Tatreez as an art form that's community based and centered around like connections and relationships with other people around you and it just extends that to us and it's been so much fun and I also remember the first
Yeah.
episode that we recorded we were both of us were so nervous.
So nervous. So nervous.
And now it's like no,
But,
this is the
it
funnest
worked.
thing ever.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny too, because like as you're saying that, I was also thinking, I'm like, you know what, Lena? Honestly, like, alhamdulillah that you're the person who was like, yes, girl, I'm down. I'll do this with you. Because I feel like you have saved me from getting canceled. Um, because people who know me, like really know me, know that I am crazy and I'm out of pocket and I sometimes say like real wild stuff. But like I try not to curse on this podcast. I'm trying to be muhtarame. I try not to curse.
MashaAllah.
I try to keep my opinions real cute and professional. Emphasis on try. But like, well, I'd probably be canceled if it wasn't for you. So shout out to you, girl.
Well, the same could be said for me because I need to put myself out there more. I'm one of those people who's like super people pleasing. I want to appease the masses and we gotta push people. We gotta set
Yeah.
some stronger boundaries around, how we talk about Tatreez and value and all of these things. And I think you definitely challenged me to get a little bit out of my comfort zone because it's important to challenge.
Yin and yang, yin
There
and
you
yang.
go.
We balance, we balance. I'm the crazy wild big sister and as the more like محترمة, like got her shit together. See, I just cursed. Oof. See, the Manny came out.
You're getting too comfortable. You're getting too
I'm
comfortable. We
getting
gotta
too
rein it
comfortable. I'm
back
getting too
in.
comfortable. All right. Okay. So let's also like we are in 2025. So normally we do record our podcast in advance, which I think most people know. So we're busy recording this current season. We're recording this episode on a Tuesday and it's going to come out on Thursday. So this is like recording in real time. But taking a look at what we're in the second week of January, I don't know, we're
Hmm.
in mid January, taking a look back at like our Tatreez journeys for the last year, like taking a look and like reflecting on that, like what would you say what has your Tatreez journey been this last like year in 2024, and how has it kind of evolved and changed?
Oh my goodness. Well, this podcast is definitely a catalyst, I think. It was part of a series of things that caused me to do a lot with Tatreez last year, which is amazing. But I think most people know, but if they don't, I left my full-time job in 2024 and I'm now doing Lina's Thobe full-time. I launched my signature Thobe course twice with two different cohorts over the year, and I've learned so much from that experience, and I'm really excited about the next iteration of it. I've launched a virtual community called the Tatreez Lab online and tested a lot with like live workshops, virtual sessions on teaching different techniques of Tatreez and doing projects live online as well. There's been a lot that's happened over the last year, but I think, for me, it's just been such a joy and such a privilege to be able to wake up every morning super excited about what I'm doing. And I owe all of that to Tatreez. Like I literally do not have the Sunday scaries ever. I actually am really excited about Mondays because that means I get to go focus on Tatreez all day and bringing it to the world. And I think that's so powerful for me. But yeah, that's 2024 in a nutshell. Much to look forward to. But before we get into
Yeah.
that, what about you? How was your 2024?
So obviously we kicked off with the podcast, which was really fun and exciting. And I think in 2024, one of the things I decided was that I was going to stand comfortably in my artistry. I talk a lot about the fact that like I do love the creative side of Tatreez, and that's like what I'm the most drawn to. I'm very drawn to doing, I don't know, like I don't want to say different things because it's not necessarily that I'm doing things that are different. It's more like just doing them my style. And so that's something that I really wanted to lean into. So I did like my first solo art exhibit, or
That's
exhibition,
true.
which
Yeah.
was really exciting. And like, it was a small little like, it's a small little art gallery that's like local to where I live. But it was a very big deal to me. It was very
It's a
exciting.
huge
And
deal. Are you
yeah,
talking
it was
about the one that while we were at the Taltrees retreat or another one?
no, no, another one. The one I did in the beginning of the year.
Mm.
It was at the little art gallery by my house,
Hmm.
here in Pacifica, California, so my little beach town. And so I had three of my pieces hanging there, which was just like really cool. And we had like an opening reception, and I got to speak. And a ton of my friends came out and supported, which was like very, very sweet. And like there was also people from like my like local Tetris community that came out to support. So it was very, very sweet and humbling. And it was, like I said, like a big deal for me. Um, and then, through that, I was able to do other things like, you know, I've done um, I've done different classes, both like IRL and virtual. I've done like some classes with like bigger groups, which has been fun. Um, and like I did so if you're local to the San Francisco Bay Area, you're familiar with California Academy of Sciences like nightlife that they do. They do this like every Thursday. It's like a big deal. And in September, while we were away at the Threes
Hmm.
retreat, they did a Philistine night, which was I'm so mad that I wasn't able to go. It was the most attended one that they've ever had. It was like over 3,500 people there. Yeah, it was
Wow.
like insane. It was like everyone and their mom was there. And so I was not able to be there, but they originally reached out to me to speak at the event, which would have been cool, but it's all right. It wasn't Nasiv. But I did have a little pop-up exhibit there, which was also just very cool. And again, a lot of my friends went and supported, and like other people just in my like Bay Area at the Threes community. It was Y'all, it was like so sweet. I had people like taking pictures and like videos and like tagging me and like sending them to me on social. And it was just very, like, very sweet and humbling that y'all care about what I do. So thank you so much for that. But that, like, that I think has been really, really fun and cool. And, also I would say the other two things that have been like big standouts for me this like last year was one like like my San Francisco Bay Area Tatreez community. So
Yeah.
what it was like in 2022, I think, like me, Asma, and Qadi were like, are actually like, okay, taking it back to like 2021, like during COVID, me, Asma, and Qadi um were all like meeting IRL, like after we all got vaccinated, like we were like meeting IRL and like stitching, and we started getting more comfortable and we're like, okay, should we like extend this to other people? And so then we started doing these Tetris circles. And in like last year, in 2024, I think they really like blew up because we were just doing them more consistently.
Yeah.
And like me, Esma, and Tala, who's also in our community, our Bay Area community, she's also like helped stepped up to like really help organize as well. It's been amazing community effort. There's a few different people who are helping organize, but like the community has been growing strong, which is really cool to see. We've been doing circles twice a month. Again, if you're like not familiar with the Bay Area, like we're kind of it's spread out, so hence why we do them twice a month to like just like cover different areas. But that's been really, 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 really cool for me because again, it's like the community aspect that I'm meeting hella people that like I might have not met otherwise, and like just connecting to people through Tatreez. And there's like a ton of non-Palestinians who like have come out and like joined our community, learned about Palestine, learned about Tatreez, learned about Palestinians. And like so that's really, really cool. And I'm excited to see that to continue to grow. And then another big thing that I've been like playing with is like my photo Tetris. So like it's
Oh,
something that
yes.
I've been playing around with for like a couple years now. And like I think like last year was like kind of the first time that I made it public, because I finally got comfortable with it. And I've taught a few classes, which has been really fun. And now there's like new Tetrisers who are doing photo Tetris, and so that's been really cool to see. And I do have some projects in 2025 with photo Tetris, that I'm hoping will come to fruition, with one of our photography friends. More to come on that. But
Yay.
like that stuff has been really cool. And I think for me, like the photo Tetris stuff has been exciting because, like I mentioned, and I think people know this, like I talk about this all the time, like I'm not necessarily like somebody who is, I guess like I don't want to say I'm not drawn to like the traditional styles because like I have a ton of vintage thobes and I like admire and love them, but like realistically, like I think you and I talked about this when you were in town for the Trees retreat, because we were talking about my thobe,
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
have put on pause right now. But I think for me, I really like trying new things. I like experimenting and trying new things. And that's what like the photo Tetris stuff has like really opened up. I still have a million and one ideas. I really like playing with mixed media. I just don't have enough time. Like, I
Yep.
definitely don't have
Yep.
enough
The
time.
struggle of everyone. Yep.
Right. So that's like kind of been my year. And oh, I guess like I also like I think some people know this too. Like I left my job in October. And so I've been doing this full time as well since October, but I am probably going to go back to a full-time corporate job just because Lena knows I have very expensive taste. So so we need that corporate paycheck. But it's all been really exciting to like explore and play around in 2024. So 2025 has some big things
And
to
you
go.
forgot to mention your Tatreez kits. That was a huge part of
Oh my
2024.
God, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess technically I launched them at the end of 2023.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I did launch them at the end of 2023, but I definitely was like really focused on them in 2024. And I've been I am working on some wholesale stuff. So there are some places in the Bay Area that you can get my keys. I was gonna say my keys, Jesus. My kits, where you can get my kits in person. And I'm talking to other stores kind of throughout the country and also internationally. So we'll see what more to come, and working on some new designs and all that stuff. But yeah, that's been fun, being able to wait, okay, should I tell the story?
Yes, you should tell the
Oh my
story.
God, Lina. Okay. Okay, so the story is I had to text Lina immediately when this happened, but I met somebody who we left him in 2024. But I met somebody, and at one point I was at this person's apartment, and this person was really excited to tell me that they had the threes on their wall. And I was like, "Oh, word, that's dope. Let me see." So I saw that hanging on his wall was one of my pieces or one of my designs. It wasn't I didn't stitch it, but it was one of my designs from my kid.
I
And
cannot believe this person did not know that you were the designer. I cannot believe
I
that.
mean, to be fair, it was a gift. He was given it as a gift.
That's true. That's true. That's true. But still, that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah, so I saw one of my designs in the wild. Shout out to his ex-girlfriend for stitching it. But
I would not have
girl,
been able to hold it together if
girl,
I
you
was in
should
your
not have stitched that for him because that was a lot of work and he is not worth it. But shout out to you, girl, because you tried to do something sweet. Um,
way too generous. Was we both know how much time went into that design.
yeah.
So,
And he had the audacity to be like, "Oh, well, if you could stitch me a new one and I'll get rid of this one." And I looked at him in the
oh
face. I was like,
my God.
"Absolutely not." I was like, "I'm not stitching for you. You're not my husband. Get out of here."
Oh my God. Oh
We
my
left him
goodness.
on in 2024. It's fine.
100%.
But yeah,
100%.
no, that was a funny story because the moment I saw that, y'all know I text Lena and I text my other homies.
I remember. It was a lot of caps in those messages, which rightfully so, you know? That's a
So
wild.
honestly, the moral of the story, ladies, do not stitch your man anything, anything,
Unless there's a
okay?
ring on your finger.
Unless there is a ring on your finger. Like, and honestly, even then.
Yeah, honestly. Oh, that is
Oh
too
my
funny.
God. Okay. Hopefully that's not the story that gets me canceled. But all right, 2025, we're here now.
Let's go.
What's next? What's next? What's next for the podcast? Let's give people like a preview of what's next for the podcast. Let's start with that.
So we have interviewed, I think, like 10 or 11 people already, right?
I
And
think
we've
so.
got people in ceramics,
Mm-hmm.
fashion,
Yes.
music,
Yes.
digitizing,
Mm-hmm.
jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all the teasing that people should get.
Yes. Yes. But I also think it like just those like few examples, I think shows how Tatreez like translates into so many different mediums and like how especially as Palestinians, like how Tatreez can touch so many different parts of your life. So I'm excited for people to hear about these Tatreez journeys from these new artists that we're connecting with this for this season. And yeah, I think I definitely want to hear what everyone's thoughts are after each episode. So like don't be shy. Like let us know what your thoughts are. Let us know like what you connect with. Let us know who you want to hear too.
Yes.
We definitely want to know who you guys want to hear. There's people that might not be on our radar even. So definitely let us know. Like I'll say this too, like we are not looking to enter like we don't care if you have like 100 followers or 100,000 followers. Like this is literally about the community for the community, so we can just like connect and share our stories and, have our stories as Palestinian artists documented somewhere. So really it's not about how quote unquote big you are on social media. It's always helpful to have social media so we can connect and like see your art, but really it's about connecting with the people and people's stories. So I'm excited about, even though we're almost done recording season 3, like I know you and I are already like building our list for season
Yeah,
4 and like getting excited
totally.
about season 4. So I think we have a lot to happen in 2025. And you know what? I'm gonna say this because I want us to be held accountable for it.
Okay.
So don't kill me, but I am gonna say I really want us to do some type of like IRL event in 2025.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
we have an idea that we floated around, and it's just about finding the right place, the right like venue to do this. But I would love for us to do something IRL. Again, I think anytime that like we can connect with people in person, obviously like the community is spread out everywhere, but like any moments that we can connect IRL, I think are really important and impactful. So that's what I want to manifest for 2025. An
Okay. And
IRL event.
also, yes, and I'm glad you said that because now we can do a call. If you have a venue in mind, or
Oh,
if
yes.
you are a Palestinian small business owner or something, and you have a space to host a live podcast recording, um, let us know. Reach out to us because we will follow up. What's
Yes.
funny? I'm now remembering, like as we're because we always say this at the end of the episodes. We're like, if you have a story, and you definitely have a story, please share them with us so that we can feature you. And I remember we interviewed one of our guests for this season, and she's one of those people who was like, oh, she raised her hand, and she's like, I'll interview, and I'm like, okay, amazing. And so on the actual episode, she was like, you guys, they actually will interview you. So.
Yes, we
Please,
will.
yes, please reach out to us because we want to talk to you. We want to hear your story. And like Amani said, every story matters because you are just naturally part of this broader community. And so we would like to have that
Yeah.
documented. So,
Yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, look, our grandparents, our grandmothers, our great grandmothers, like their stories were not able to be documented. And we are trying to use our privilege in diaspora, our privilege with the technology that we have at hand to try to contribute something. And yes, our stories, your individual story is a contribution to like greater Palestinian culture. So definitely want to hear from you all. So all right, that's kind of what we're looking for 2025 for the podcast. Um, Lina, really quick, 2025, your Tatreez journey hope. What are you looking to do for your Tatreez journey in 2025
okay,
or your life?
since we're manifesting, I want to see 50 women begin their thobe-making journey this year.
Okay,
50, five
okay,
zero. That's what I want to
okay.
see this year. Um, yeah, I think that's a good enough goal.
All right. All right. I like it. Okay. 50 of you are going to have to get in contact with Lina. At least 50 of you
Exactly, exactly.
are going to have to get in contact with Lina and start your thobe,
Hmm.
because Lina will come after
Because
you if you don't.
I will, Amani, I will be coming after you at some point.
Yalla, yani, okay, it's gonna happen. I still have my fabric. I just had to put it on pause.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. We got to
I
get
I
inspired.
I think I need to, for my thobe too, honestly, I think I need to reimagine, like, I think I need to like, I think I need to be sleeveless. I think I need a slit.
Yes, 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 yes.
I need to Amani it. I need to zhuzh
Yes,
it. I need to make it a little
yes,
bit more Amani.
totally.
But I have the fabric that is just still to die for. So
Yes.
it's on the
Just a
list. It's
matter
on
of
the list.
time. Just a matter of
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Okay, Amani, what about you? What are you manifesting this year?
So this year I have some new kit designs that I'm really excited to put out there. And like I said, I'm working on like getting my kits in more places. So I'm hoping that it inspires more people to start Tatreez. And for
Mm.
people who already do Tatreez, like, I'm hoping that it gets you excited to do something a little bit different. You know, we know that Amanne's kits are not necessarily, although, you know what's funny is my most popular kit, my best-selling kit is my red kit, which is like, we know I'm not a red girly, but of course people love the traditional red. Anyways, I hope that it inspires people to like own their own style and like create their own style of Tetris. And yeah, I think that's like the big thing for me. And then also just like more community stuff. Like I'm really excited to see my local community grow with more and more Tetris people joining. So that's something that I am very excited about and looking forward to. And yeah, hopefully I can see more of my designs in the wild, but under different circumstances. I can't believe I told that story.
I can't believe you came back to that story.
Y'all, I'm a hot mess. It's fine. I love y'all. Thank you for the support.
Okay. Well, let's wrap up. Thank you guys so much for listening to Tatreez Talk. There's so much more to come, so please tune in. We want to hear about your Tatreez journey, so please, like we've said, share your stories with us at tatreeztalk@gmail.com, and we will have you on an upcoming episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on your favorite listening platform and be sure to leave a 5-star review. You can follow me at Lina Thobe and Amanne at Min Amanne, and of course, follow the pod at Tatreez Talk. We will talk to you guys soon.